scriptures. We went over this, 2 days ago. Gonna read it again for you because we always got to hear, thus saith the Lord. What does God say about truth versus falsehood? All these foolish, lying, satanic ideologies that come down the pike. People get all confused and get all bent out of shape because Satan doesn't just come one way. He comes 5 and 6 and 7 ways at one time. It's called a spirit of confusion. Yet God says God has not given his spirit of confusion. For God is not the author of confusion. God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. So he says here, again, in the chapter of, in the Gospel of John, chapter 8, he says, Then Jesus said to those Jews who believed him, If you abide in my word, you are my disciples indeed. And you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make, not set, make you free. Because when you make something, you can't unmake it. But when you set something, you can move it from one place to the other. God makes us free. You can make something, but you can't unmake it. But you can set something, and you can set it somewhere else. And then he said, they answered him and said, We are Abraham's descendants, and have never been in bondage to anyone. How can you say you will be made free? Verse 34 says, Jesus answered him and said, Most assuredly I say to you, whosoever commits sin is a slave to sin. That's why in this next book that the ghostwriter is working on me now, title America, subtitle America, the title America, subtitle Land of the Free or Home of the Slave. Which one shall it be, America? That book should be out in the fall, Lord willing. Land of the free or home of the slave. We must choose. Then he says, Jesus answered him and said, I say to you, whoever commits sin is a slave of sin. And a slave does not abide in the house forever, but a son abides forever. Therefore, if the Son makes you free, you shall be free indeed. Now here comes the opposition from these so-called people who claim to believe. We're going to find out they didn't believe at all. Their belief was nothing but an intellectual belief. They said, I know, Jesus said to them, I know you are Abraham's seed, Abraham's descendants, but you seek to kill me, because my word has no place in you. Jesus says, I speak what I have seen with my Father, and you do what you've seen with your father. Verse 39, they answered him and said to him, Abraham is our father. Jesus is going to set him out now. Jesus said to them, if you were Abraham's children, you would do the works of Abraham. But now you seek to kill me, a man who has told you the truth, which I heard from God. Abraham did not do this. You do the deeds of your father. Then they said to him, we are not born of fornication. We have one Father God. Oh, they sounded real religious. Oh, they said, we believe in God. God's our Father. Then Jesus said to them, first they said to Jesus, we were not born of fornication. We have one Father. Verse 42, Jesus said to them, he's going to smack them now with the Holy Ghost. If God were your Father, you would love me. For I proceeded forth and came from God, nor have I come of myself, but God sent me. Why do you not understand my speech? Because you are not able to listen to my word. You are of your father, the devil. Ouch! I thought we were all God's children, y'all. We're all God's creation, but we are all not God's children. Jesus made it clear, you must be born again. For unless you are born again, you will not and cannot see the kingdom of heaven. We are all God's creation, but we are all not God's children unless we have been born from above. So this nonsense about, well, I believe in God. Reverend Kraft's next question is always, have you been born again? Well, I don't believe in all that. You wasn't them born again Christians. Ain't no other kind. You ain't born again, you ain't a Christian. Well, I attend the Baptist church. I attend the Methodist church. Good, you're religious, but you ain't saved. How can I say that? Because that's where I was for many years. I'm a church boy, been in church all my life. But guess what? If I'd have died when I was back there, I'd have busted hell wide open sitting in the church pew. Going to church don't mean squat diddly. I can walk in the garage, that don't make me a car. You are of your father the devil, and the desires of your father you want to do. He, speaking of Satan, was a murderer from the beginning, and does not stand in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaks a lie, he speaks from his own resources, for he is a liar and the father of it. This is a lie. He's the father of lies, because I tell you the truth, you do not believe me. Which of you can convict me of sin? Jesus says. And if I tell you the truth, why do you not believe me? He who is of God hears God's words. Therefore you do not hear God's words, because you are not of God. That's heavy. That's heavy. So when you hear these people talking about, oh, I believe in God, but I don't believe in all that Christian Bible stuff. Guess what? The Bible says the devils believe in God and they sure ain't saved. Hello, somebody. The devils believe in God, but they ain't saved. Ain't no demon going to heaven. They're going to bust hell wide open. But they believe in God. So we're gonna hit this divisive ideology of critical race theory. We're going to hit it in the head. What are the roots of critical race theory? Like I said to you before, and I want you to repeat it after me. Stop saying CRT stands for critical race theory. Instead, say crazy. Say it. Crazy. Racial. Trash. CRT. That's what it is. It's crazy. It's racial. And it's trash. Critical race theory is a worldview rooted in Marxism and postmodern philosophy that separates individuals into groups based on race and pits them against one another in order to overthrow society. That's the measure. With race as the excuse for revolution. That's what they're looking for. They want to destroy the greatest country on planet Earth that God has set up to be a light to the nations. Its fruit is not good. CRT is a threat to liberty, community, and democracy. Racism is real. Why is it real? Because racism is just a sin among every other sin. So when you hear the expression systemic racism and systemic, all this systemic nonsense, the only thing that's systemic started in the Garden of Eden when Adam chose to disobey God. Systemic sin. Anything else comes out of that. Next time somebody gets in your face and talk about, I don't care if they're black or white, get up in your face and talk about, don't you believe in systemic racism? Don't you believe in white people think they are superior, white supremacy they call it? Next time anybody say that to you, say, you believe in white supremacy? Say, oh yeah, it's racism. Then you say to them, what's the opposite of supremacy? Inferiority. If you believe in white supremacy, then by default you believe in black inferiority. Is that so, sir? Of course they're going to say no. You done painted them in a corner right there. That's why I had my brother from another mother make me this shirt. Stop white hate. Stop white self-loathing. See what they're going to do with that? A black clergy minister that's going to stand on the truth with a black t-shirt on with white letters, instead of saying stop black hate and stop Asian hate, I'm going to say stop white hate. Yes. And all Caucasians, stop self-loathing. I heard this man say not too long ago, oh, I used to love the sports. I used to love the NBA and the NFL, but now everybody's taking the knee. So I
can't watch any more sports, and I love sports, but I can't be bothered with all that no more. Everybody's taking a knee. And then he said, there's only one sport now I follow. I said, what's that, bro? He said, horse racing. I said, oh, horse racing. I said, so you a gambler? He says, every now and then I put a little bit up. And then I says, so what are you saying to me? He says, and if the horses take a knee, I'm going to quit that too. The horse take a knee. Lord Jesus. What critical race theory is all about? Look at this mess. Economic justice. Reparations down. The world is watching. Critical race theory is a demonic attack on unity and biblical identity that masquerades as a remedy to injustice and disunity. In a secular definition, proponents would define CRT as an academic movement made up of civil rights scholars and activists in the United States who seek to critically examine the law as it intersects with issues of race. The critical race theory movement says that incremental change, such as what the civil rights movement relied on, is not enough, and that the very foundations of reason, equality theory, constitutional law, and rationalism should be shaken quickly to bring the desired result. The desired result is revolution and to overthrow the United States of America. That's the issue. It's nothing to do with all this other nonsense. You can't see it from here, and I didn't put a slide up, but I just want to show you how this stuff plays out. You got two groups of people the Marxists play on. One is called the oppressed, and the other is called the oppressor. This is the lie that these rascals sell the oppressed. You are a victim. Therefore, bitterness, anger, and hopelessness is your lot in life as long as you live, because you can't change your skin color. Therefore, you are not responsible for anything that happens to you in your life. You poor, pitiful thing, you. So like that woman that the brother had on there yesterday, I think it was Alex, or somebody had it on there, or that woman, what was her name? Yeah, Jones. She a millionaires, but she's oppressed, because she's a woman and she's black. And every time she speaks, she gets 25 grand. Give me some of her oppression. Since you are a victim, a perpetual victim, you're going to be bitter, you're going to stay angry, you're going to always be hopeless, therefore you are not responsible, therefore others are responsible to take care of you. Because you are a victim. That's how people like LeBron James, all these black millionaires and millionaires can go around with this nonsense. Now the other side, the oppressor, based again on flesh, the color of your skin. You are an oppressor. Therefore you have shame and you have guilt. Therefore you are responsible for other people's misfortune and their pain. Therefore you should take care of others. Why? Because you are an oppressor. Now you tell me how people are supposed to be free believing that kind of nonsense. That's a double whammy. I got a few copies of these on the back table just for my book that I wrote back in 2008, Morality and Freedom. You can see Mrs. Kraft after, and this one here. This in here was written in 1958, Color, Communism, and Common Sense. For a small donation to the ministry, you get both of them. The one I wrote, Morality and Freedom, America's Dynamic Duel, and this one. But I just want to just read one thing here of how this thing plays out to the black folks.
because of this false ideology of you are a perpetual victim because of the color of your skin. He says, to one familiar with the red trickery, and they ain't talking about conservatives calling themselves red. This book was written in 58. Back in 58, the Reds were the communists. That's why I don't use the term the Reds versus the Blues. In the 50s and 60s, when you talked about the Reds, you were talking about the commies. Now, all of a sudden, the Reds are supposed to be the good guys. And the Blues are supposed to be the bad guys. Well, back then, the Blues were the good guys, red, white, and blue, and the Reds were the bad guys. So which one is it, y'all? Listen to this. To one familiar with red trickery, it is obvious that placing the blame for all of the Negroes' problems at the door of the white leaders in America is to remove all responsibility from the Negro. This tends to make the Negro, A, feel sorry for himself. Uh-oh, I just said it. B, blame others for his failures. Uh-oh. C, ignore the countless opportunities all around him. Uh-oh. D, jealous of the progress of other racial groups and national groups. Uh-oh. E, expect the white man to do everything for him. And F, look for easy and quick solutions as a substitute for the harsh realities of competitive struggle to get ahead. The result is a persecution complex. This was written by a black man who bought into this lie in the church from a communist black minister that convinced him that the only whites that loved black folks was commies. So he got him into communism. This guy here that wrote this book, Manning Johnson, went over to Moscow to be trained as a trained Marxist. Only to get over there in Moscow and find out that them people didn't care about no black folks. They wanted to use the black folks because of our history of years of slavery and then more years of Jim Crow. Satan has always known, you want to destroy America? Use the blacks. Because of slavery. And that's the reason why to come against this stuff. When you guys try to talk to black people about, man, I didn't do nothing to you, why are you mad at me? It goes in one of their ears and out the other. Because the first thing they say to you is, are you black? Was your ancestors bound and in chains? Blah, blah, bloop-de-blue? Did you have 100 years of Jim Crow? You have no credibility to talk about these issues. That's where we get the expression, if you ain't had the shoe in your foot, you can't wear it. Yeah. That's why I tell people, you want to talk about race issues, you got to use me or somebody that looks like me. Yep. Yep. The result is a persecution complex, a warped belief that the white man's prejudice, the white man's system, the white man's government, and blah, 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 is responsible for everything. Such a belief is the way the communists planned it, for the next logical step is hatred that can be used by the Reds to accomplish their ends. I think we only got maybe 6 copies of this. Get with Mrs. Kraft after this thing and pick up one. There's a couple other books in there. One on this lie about COVID-19, and then one from our dear sister in Harlem, Barbara from Harlem. We got a book back there on that. The Racism of Low Expectations, where she is a black woman who got free from this racial nonsense, wrote a book that we bring racism on ourselves by believing the devil's lie of black inferiority and white supremacy. Because if you believe in white supremacy, automatically you got to believe in its opposite, black inferiority. You can't have one without the other. Hello, somebody. What critical race theory is all about? Or as I say, crazy racial trash. These ideas, which is class warfare and sowing discord among neighbors, is a classic Marxist tactic, one that we saw play out in the Soviet-era Russia. Dictatorial rulers are easier to rule the people when the peasants are fighting against each other. That's why they want to disarm you. Once they get your weapons, you're done. You're done. And they'll tell you guns are the problem. How can guns be the problem? It's like you heard Pastor David say about the sword. I can take every weapon in the United States, lay it right down there on that floor, and watch it and see if it picks itself up and shoots somebody. Hello, somebody. It'll lay there and the hell freeze over. Marx created discord, exploited that discord, and then inflamed the discord and widened the racial division. Saul Alinsky, a communist, he said in his book, Rules for Radicals, described it this way: rub, look at this, rub resentments raw. Say that with me, y'all. Rub resentments raw. What's that mean? You got a problem, you got a sore or something, instead of putting oil and wine and vinegar and healing it, you rub that thing. You rub it. And you keep messing with it until it blows up. You rub people's resentments raw. These tactics are used by the communists, Marx, Stalin, Mayo, Alinsky, and others. And they are similar to the way critical race theory and all identity politics have been applied in America. There are victims, according to them. They are oppressors. And then there are allies who redeem themselves from their position in this fight by becoming an ally of the victim. And guess what the name they can't call for them? The anti-racists. While they're promoting racism. See, they slick. They tell you, oh, we're anti-racist, while they're promoting racism. See, this deception is not hard to see through. When you have a mind to see through a lie. That's why when people call you a hater, the true definition of a hater is those who hate the truth because they love the lie. Say it with me, y'all. Those who hate the truth is because they love the lie. That's the true definition of a hater. Not this nonsense, you don't believe in two men being married. No, I don't believe it because it's a lie. You don't believe in critical race theory. No, that's another lie. You a bigot. You a hater. We'll get some questions when I finish this. You a hater and a bigot, and you're a basket of deplorables, and all these names. Oh, I don't need a bigot. I'll take the knee. All this nonsense. I'm gonna stop. Because I want you guys to talk to me, you young people. Critical race theory works by pushing two coordinating themes. First, CRT purports that white supremacy is rampant. So if white supremacy is rampant, then black inferiority has to be rampant too. Hello, somebody? As the song goes, you can't have one without the other. And its power is entrenched in our laws, our culture, our systems, our language, our education, and our nation. Second, CRT purports that racial emancipation and anti-subordination must occur with the transformation of culture and laws that address racial power. So what they're doing, they're going to get rid of white racism, which is a sin, and replace it with black racism, which is another sin. You can't see through that? You're blind. They're going to get rid of racism with racism? Doesn't make a bit of sense. You ain't got to be spiritual to know something's wrong with that picture. Look at these signs. Make racists afraid again. Smash white supremacy. Look at this sign on the end here. Cops and the Klan go hand in hand. Ain't that cute? Ain't that cute? Cops and the Klan go hand in hand. Yet when somebody wants to rob them, who do they call? They don't call the social worker, they call the cops. And if cops and the Ku Klux Klan go hand in hand, then what do you do with black cops? They part of the Ku Klux Klan too? Hello, somebody. Smash white supremacy. Then they got to come back with another banner that says smash black inferiority. That's why I went and had this shirt made. I'll get a banner made and go right there. While they talking about smash white supremacy, then I'll put up one and say, hey, you forgot something. We got to smash black inferiority too then. Or this one here, stop hating white folks. The buzzwords. Be on the lookout for anything that uses these words. It is most likely involved in promoting CRT ideas. I'm not going to go through all these. There's too many of them. I'll just look at a couple of them. Racial injustice, disadvantage, microaggression. You hear that a lot in the academy, on university and college campuses. Oh, I don't like the way you looked at me. I'm offended. That's a microaggression. What? A microaggression. I'm offended. Whoever gave you a right not to be offended? Jesus, everywhere he went, he offended folks.
Amen.
You got these people telling you today, I don't want you to offend me. Yet in the next breath, they're telling you some madness about the moon got rights. I'm offended. You must think I was born yesterday in a cabbage patch. I might not be the sharpest knife in the drawer, but don't come telling me the river got rights. I don't want to hear that. The moon got rights. What kind of nonsense is that? Racial equity, structural racism, white fragility. Oh, that, ooh. Some white woman, some white communist woman is going to write a whole book talking about, we're so fragile. She a millionaire. Oh, white fragility. Robin DiAngelo's her name. She done wrote a whole book cutting off her own nose to spite her own face. A white woman saying that she wrong and God created her white. Now what kind of nonsense is that? That thing is a slap in the face of her creator. Satan knows that he cannot get to the creator. So what does he come after? The creation. What all this kind of nonsense? White privilege. And so on and so forth. How about this one? The people of color. What does that mean? People of color? I thought everybody had a color. If you ain't got a color, you dead. Now look at this one. What does it look like? There are countless stories of how CRT is applied in practical ways in the schools, in businesses, and elsewhere, and the results it brings. Don't assume your community is immune from this mess. This ideology is saturating all corners of our nation as education. And it's nothing but indoctrination. Look at this cartoon. The little black boy says, oh, I like being black. The little white boy says, oh, that's nice. Then the little white boy says, I like being white. The black boy says, you're racist. What? You see how foolish this stuff is? But it's devilish.
Yes. Yes.
Where are we seeing this madness? Race theory is embedded in schools, government agencies, universities, media, and entertainment. We also found CRT deeply entrenched in professional sports, corporate America, the military, and even churches and ministries. If you've ever been asked to attend sensitivity training, seen a product commercial about justice, been instructed to use different pronouns or terms that are more politically correct, and were told as a shareholder that profits are secondary to diversity, or made to feel ashamed of being white or superior for being black or brown, you have experienced CRT in action. Me and Mrs. Kraft made a decision. We live in Lexington, where the battle for freedoms kicked off April 19, 1776. I think there may be 1% blacks in Lexington, Massachusetts. And I think me and Edith makes that up. We don't have chick nor child in any school in Lexington. But guess what God told me to do and told Miss Kraft to do? Run for the school committee. Yeah. They're going to have a sure enough problem when they see me up there. Because we're going to fight. They're going to have to try to figure out how to get me off there if I get elected. Because if they say, we ain't voting for you, then I'm going to say, you must be a closet racist. Well, my last name ain't Kraft for nothing. Now they call me the crafty one. And if I get on there, I'm going to really, Race theory is embedded everywhere. Look at this classroom, these little innocent babies being taught this mess by some wicked liberal teacher. Be on alert for these CRT books and curriculum. Not my idea, by Anastasia Hickenbach, a book about whiteness. Whiteness? What's that? I heard one of these people talking about, oh, and this was a white person. Oh, I love being white, but I hate whiteness. What? What does that mean? White fragility, I just told you about her. Robin DiAngelo, she's white. Black Lives Matter in school. They're teaching young people as foolishness. And a lot of you young people, a lot of you has been homeschooled, that's true. But you hearing this crap. How to be anti-racist. Anti-racist baby by Abraham Kendi. He's a black professor, communist. How to be anti-racist while you are racist. 7 ways to push back against this mess. 1, go to your school board meetings in your area. Look for and speak up against this mess. Another bullet, review your children and grandchildren's textbooks and assignments for evidence of this mess. Next, send messages to your local elected officials about your concerns with any CRT material you see being used in your community. Next, find other like-minded individuals who will stand with you against CRT intrusion in your schools and government. Next, pray for those who are speaking up against CRT agenda, the teachers, the administrators, and the parents. Next, look for the usage of known websites for this content. And next, share information like this with others in your community so that they too can be well informed. One of the things that God is opening up for us, we're getting this motor home pretty soon. It's an old one. Somebody's going to bless us with it, but it's got work. It's an old one. It's a 96. It needs work on it. It's in the state of Virginia. I told a guy, he says he wants to bless me with it. I said, get it road ready. I'm not a mechanic. I says, I don't know nothing about mechanics. Get the thing in road ready shape, drive it up to Lexington, Massachusetts from Virginia. If you drive it all the way up there and there's no problem, I'll take it. And then I'll go on the road with it during the week and put big letters on the side of it. Crazy racial trash.